go to there. Yeah.
Okay.
And now you don't do the break. There
Okay.
you go. What's up, everybody? This is your favorite show, Crypto and Coffee with the Trading Bros. I'm your host, Clutch, and yeah, that's right. We're back down here together. We call that move on Friday that led to a very nice set along. So if you guys were bullish, I'm glad that you guys made some money. Now, here's the big deal, and this is the trappy part. How high are we going to go before we get a pullback? So, B Wellington, right here on the charts.
All
So what do
right.
you got?
So as you can see, we're all together. So it's a little bit different format. So if it looks a little crazy, don't worry. We got everything under control. My chart is so sloppy right now, but that's okay. All the sloppiness is going to tell us exactly where we need to be. So we did mention you know, let's go to this chart because it's a little bit more clean. A little dog in the background. But look, we said the death cross was coming. We said that more people that were going to go short in this area, that death cross, that they were going to come get those shorts. And so if you look at it, I mean, just look at this volume profile. Volume profile up here, but just the volume that's coming in. We've had some nice amounts of volume, but not anything compared to what we've had to the downside. And when the last time we did have some of these moves to the upside, you can see the kind of volume that came into the chart. And so we haven't seen that kind of volume. So a lot of this is just on the short sell side as far as the squeeze is concerned. And so, what I would see is we'll probably continue up. We've got somewhat of a, if you want to call this resistance here at this kind of the 1800 is where I'm looking at. And if you look at it across the board, you can see that's pretty consistent over the lifetime that we get some bounces in this particular area. So if we do continue up in that area, which I anticipate, and I know that Clutch is going to talk about our CME that's coming up, I'll let him give that number. But coming up into this area, I think you're going to find a lot of bulls that come into play. They're going to play this breakout to the upside, and it may break out just a little bit as well. 2000 is a pretty magical number, so I think when people see that number, they may get excited, so they may take that number to it. The other thing we got to look at is as we break through this 1800 area, and you have got breakout traders there, they're going to really start trapping some longs in this area. And so even if we come back through and retest, look for that, that continuation, and then we may come back to the downside. If we look at things that are happening more on this time frame, we've just had the cross, right? The golden cross on the 1 hour. And so moving back up, I fully expect us to retrace at some point just to shake off some of the longs. I mean, we do have this wick up here at 1638 that we got up to, and I anticipate that we'll get back up to that wick and break through it. But, that 1638, 1634, that's an area where we want to take a look at, especially when looking at Bookmap, as well, to kind of see what the liquidity looks like on that end. But if we do start moving down, we do have the psychological ranges, which are below us, which they tend to come back to.
Hey man, that's right where the CME gap is.
And that's right where our last week's CME gap. So there's some confluence there. But obviously, this market is, I won't say obviously. Obviously, to us, this market's been manipulated to the upside. Part of it because a lot of the shorts that are out there to get retail on board for some of the longs. So we'll just have to see what it looks like when it gets up into that area. If we go to the 14-minute, it's really going to tell the same story. On the 14-minute, I just like to look at the EMAs. I mean, we have cross. It's starting to expand. And so it's got a crest. And just by looking at chart patterns, it would make sense for us to get up here to this line, which would kind of crest this peak here, which would be middle of the week. So we're talking about Tuesday, Wednesday. Well, today's Tuesday, tomorrow's Wednesday, and then maybe moving down further on in the week. So we're kind of out of some of the volume that we've had up here. This is an area that, we've had these vector candles that come up, so we're recovering those as well. As you can see, some of these peaks here, you can kind of look at those as intraday plays as well. And we've had these up into this area. So, just keep an eye to those because we might have some retraces on that end. But that's all I've got relative to that chart. If we look at things like OI, OI is at 4.7. This was at 5 billion when we were down in this area. So it's actually come down a little bit, probably because we're knocking out some of the shorts that came in a little bit earlier. So we'll see how much they punish the shorts. But if you look at funding rates, most of the funding rates are positive, which means that either a lot of these shorts have been liquidated and now they're out in the market, or people are bringing on longs. So I would say it's more of a liquidation play relative to the positive versus people getting back on board just yet. I think a lot of people are waiting for that 1800 area, so we should see a lot of activity when we get into that area. If we do look at the traditional markets, which are open, they opened up at 8:30.
Futures were positive.
Futures were positive, so we're somewhat pumping. And then, again, it's 9 o'clock. It's the first 30 minutes. Who knows what's going to happen? But we had a good day up yesterday. We'll see how those things work out. If I click on that, they'll see my shit. So we'll just we'll look at some of the economic news here in a little bit. But let's hop over to High Block and take it over, Clutch. Let's see what we got going on for High Block, which is still loaded.
Yeah, if this will ever load.
We're not on the Nebuchadnezzar. Let's just see if we can. We got Streamlabs running. We got a whole lot of things happening. Yeah, that seems like we just locked that bad boy up. Well, let's go over to Bookmap.
Back to you. So as you can see here, guys, we've come up to this 1570 area, and a lot of longs jumped on board. And as you can see, a lot of shorts are jumping on board on their way down because they're really trying to move price. But as you can see, we are here in the 542 range, so I do expect that we're going to go ahead and range to the bottom. So do expect 1500 soon, as it looks like we are starting to come down. And then at 1500, I'm expecting that we'll probably see some more liquidity pop up, and then one or two things will continue to have movements to the downside, or we'll get a bounce and then a continue up, and we'll range our way back through here. So you want to take a longer or a bigger look at the overall picture here. As long as we're waiting. That's why we drink coffee. Why things are loading and shit like that. So quiet.
It is pretty quiet. The dogs should start barking again and get things rolling. But I see just right away we've got liquidity like in that. And
as you can see, guys,
1800 area, but we've got lots of the downside.
We don't have a whole lot up here. Do pay attention. There are some orders all the way up to 1800, right in that area that we talked about. But your major liquidity is down here to the downside. So do expect. Here's what's really tricky about this whole thing, is on High Block. We weren't able to open a while ago, but we are at an extreme long to short deficit. We have a lot of long liquidations below us. We have some really big ones, over $180 billion. So I do expect that we're going to go down and get those, and we've been running up since Friday. So the odds of a reversal and us having some downward momentum, just temporarily, is I think that's coming soon. And so I'm going to go that I'm actually pretty bearish on today's forecast.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you look at the liquidity, I think the liquidity's out there. What I would say is that we may get another stop hunt to the upside in order to do a little bit more trapping. But one of the things is when they start accumulating longs, because they can always come back and get the longs, right?
Yeah.
And so I think there's going to be a balance between the amount of shorts that are coming on board, which they've been destroying for the last, since this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And at a certain point, they're going to exhaust those shorts. But when we get up to that, if we get up to that 1800 area, I mean, the further we go up, the more shorts are going to return. And therefore, that's going to provide more liquidity for the upside, as well as more longs getting behind the move because they look at it. But I mean, if we're just looking at it, look at the volume that we're getting to the upside. Just there's nothing there. And so we might get some short spikes to the upside just to get trapped.
We
But inevitably, we're coming back down.
Oh, absolutely. We do have a CME that hasn't been closed in weeks, and that's up in the 1618 or 1680 range. So we may get up to there. And like I said, it does look like we're about to probably range back down to at least 1500. And I would use that as a key area as to see if we're going to continue more momentum to the downside or if we get a bounce and start breaking up. But this may also be one of those choppy days as well. So,
Well, it's a Tuesday. We
It
just
is a
had
Tuesday.
Monday. So, Wednesday, Thursday, we've got a lot of earnings coming out. And of course, everybody is waiting on the Fed meeting next week. So, next Tuesday, Wednesday, it's going to be big days. And we've got a bunch of numbers coming out on Thursday. And earnings season is coming out as well. So, probably we can cover that next week. Or not what's next week, but tomorrow. Some of the news that's coming out, talk more about the earnings that are coming out that could have an impact on the macro, which ultimately has an impact on crypto. So we can discuss it then.
yeah. So those are, like I said, pay attention to 1500, and then again at breakout 1580, we get it back up and actually got up to 1630. So we would definitely want to see that wick be broken for some more continuation to the upside. But like I mentioned, I think right now it's 8:56 Central Standard Time. I think we're inbound for at least 1500. So that's all we got, and we'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, same